At the end of the day, selling is transferring a feeling. If you don't have the feeling, you can't transfer it. If you don't have a good, positive feeling, dude, you're an actor. You have to sell and run your business from a place of positivity. And however you get there, God bless you. It's episode 41 of the Pete Primeau Show. Welcome, Pat Tinney. How are you, Patrick?
Still getting over that intro music. Holy smoke. Whoa.
Hey, that's compliments of Chris Stone, the best producer in all the land.
I tell you, man, I want to go to that concert. It's good. It's good. It's good. How you been?
I'm awesome. Let me just pay the bills really quick. Guys, this show is sponsored by Sell a Million, my book. And if you haven't read it, you need to
buy it.
And Patrick, my friend, bought it and enjoyed it. So you will too. If you own a furniture or a mattress store or any kind of business, it's just a good marketing book, even though it's tailored to mattresses and tailored to furniture. Take the word furniture or mattresses, my friend Doug Stewart would say, it's just a great marketing book. So
you can sell anywhere with that book.
And I want to thank our sponsor, our biggest sponsor, and that is Mattress Industry Network. This is a Facebook group that if you own a furniture or a mattress store and you're serious about the mattress industry, you need to join this group. It's a group that is run by retailers for retailers, and their core values are build, market, sell, and succeed. And that's what they do every day. You're missing the boat. It's a free group. All you got to do is join that group, and Steve will welcome you in with open arms. And so will I and about 1,000 other people that are hooked up in the mattress business. Not only will you have connections with retail stores that are like you, but you'll also have introductions to manufacturers that you may not have had access to. So join the Mattress Industry Group today, network group today. And Pat, without a further ado, let's get into it. How to have your best fourth quarter ever, and as a bonus, your best first quarter ever too, because I have a little confession to make. Everybody that's watching this, it's probably too late for your fourth quarter. But if you're a retail salesperson, we're going to give you some tips on how to have a great mindset so that you can have your best fourth quarter ever. But if you own a store, your advertising already needed to be in place last quarter. And there's no one who is more qualified to talk about this than Patrick Tinney. And I'm going to tell you why. He owns his own company. It's Centroid Training and Marketing. He's the founder and the managing partner for his company. He's the author of 3 books that are excellent. Perpetual Hunger. If you own a store or you're a sales rep, you have to get this book. Unlock and Yes. This is a book on negotiations. Whether you're a buyer or a seller, you need to have this book. And the bonus round, which is his last book. This book is a tour de force. It is an absolute mind-boggling treatise on selling, and especially selling big sales, big-time selling. But on accident, Pat gave us a history of advertising, and it is a fascinating book. If you haven't gotten these books, get them now. Patrick, I know I'm throwing a lot out there fast, but how do these guys have their best fourth quarter ever?
Well, do you know what it is? First of all, conserve your energy, because this is the hardest quarter of the year. And so what you have to do is you have to really focus on planning your day out well, eating well, don't drink too much caffeine, just kind of pace yourself. It's really 5 horse races in one. It kind of sounds weird, but let me kind of lay it out for you. You've got the month of October, and we're still in it. We're still in it to win it. And if you may have some, monthly specials that come into the store. That's the time to get on the phone to customers right now. and just say, listen, this just popped in. Yeah, let's just come down and have a look at it. I'll save one for you. And if you like it, I'll see if I can dig up some more. And then, you've got November and December, and really you've got a truncated last 6 weeks. Black Friday comes in really fast. A lot of moving parts, all get rolling. And, you're also dealing with a quarter. So if you're in the quarter business, you want to close out strong, because it really sets up Q1 for next year, which is exactly what Pete just laid out for all of you. But here's the thing, it's all happening at once. And so that's why you have to be organized. Plan your day. It's almost like a flight plan. My boss always used to say to me, Pat, what's your flight plan? I used to kind of giggle, but as time has gone on, it makes a heck of a lot more sense. I mean, I talk to people and I read about my colleagues who are really heavily into time blocking. And, that's where you have to make appointments with yourself. You have to make appointments with your staff. Coaching this time of year is tougher. You may have to start a little bit earlier, maybe a half hour earlier, stay a half hour later. Or as I used to do with my boss, I used to hijack him every day. I'd say, Don, I got a couple ideas, but I want to stretch my legs. How you feeling about that? And he says, great. So off we'd go for a 3/4 hour walk. I'd pick his brains. I'd get all the ugly stuff up on the table so nobody had to listen to it in a meeting. We'd come to some resolves. I go back and I grab my lunch, sit at my desk for 15 minutes. Boom. I got a 3/4 hour coaching session every day from a former president of Simmons Mattress.
That's awesome.
Not bad.
It's efficient too.
It's really efficient. And the thing is, it has flow, and you're outside, and, sure, there's other things that are going on, but you know what it is the one-on-one is totally focused on the one-on-one.
Yeah. You
don't have to think ahead of the other person. It's like you and I engaged right now. I'm not thinking ahead of you, and I don't feel you're thinking ahead of me. We're in that bubble, that zone where, we want to give your audience just as much as we can give them right now.
Yep. So tell me about this president from Simmons. Must have been a significant mentor in your life.
Oh, yeah. His name was Don Fisher. We just lost Don a few years ago. And he under pressure, he was probably one of the best guys you wanted to have around, because, he'd say crazy things when things would get really bad. Like, Pat, I love it when customers hit us over the head. And I'd say, why, Don? And he'd say, well, when they stop, it feels so good. And then when things get really bad, you'd see him in his office tapping his toes on the floor, screaming, mommy, daddy, help me. The guy was in his 60s, like he's my age now, right? And it would just crack everybody up. And the other thing he did that he was really good at is that he could take a team, pull them together and say, all right, guys, you just got to pull off all this crazy armor that you wear all day long that you used to, to protect yourself in meetings. I need a collaborative team right now. And I want everybody to hold up their hand and say, I'm in. And behind that, we all knew that what he really meant was, I'm going to hold up my hand and say, this is what I'm really good at, regardless of whether I want to do it or not.
Yep. Going back to what you said about conserving your energy, I've talked to a few sales people and they're like so wound tight right now. And, I just started cracking jokes and getting them loosened up, because nothing good happens when you put yourself under an immense amount of pressure. So taking what Patrick said just a little bit further, I'm going to say this. Your year's going to be what your year's going to be. Should you do everything you can to finish it strong? Absolutely. Should you make yourself sick and get an ulcer over it? No. And let me give you guys all a clue, especially you store owners. You need to laugh and have fun every day in your store with your team and with your customers.
Yeah.
Do you know what happens when you have that vibe in your store?
Yeah.
First of all, whether you want it to happen or not, when somebody enters a store, there is a vibration. You can call it whatever you want. I'm not going to get too woo woo on you here, but I'm going to tell you there is a feeling in that store. It emanates from the store owner to his or her people, and it goes out to your customers. Whether you want to believe that or not, I'm just telling you that's gravity, right? When you throw a ball up, it always comes down. Not once in a while it stays up in the air. It doesn't. It comes down. And it's as sure as gravity. So make sure, just kind of piling on Pat's point about Don Fisher. Here you have this extraordinary leader with all these years of experience in his 60s, and he's at the top of his game. And what's he doing? He's making his staff laugh and have fun. And let me tell you something. When you just told your top salesperson a great joke, and she or he is laughing, they're fanning off, and they're going and greeting a customer, you don't think the customer feels that? The customer feels that. So, guys, I've said this a million times. Have fun and sell a million. I don't say sell a million and have fun. I say it in that order for a reason, because you're never going to sell the million unless you're having fun, because people want to buy from people who make them feel good. So keep it light, keep it fun. What else you got for us, Pat?
Well, I just want to pick up on that because, I remember as a younger guy, I'd walk into some retailers, and if it happened to be a furniture store, it's just what it happened to be. But you'd walk in and it would feel like a mortuarium. And at the very back of this store that's just packed with furniture, packed with dining room suites and just everything you can think of. You hear one guy at the back of the room go creak in his chair, and he stands up and he goes, "Nice to see you." It's like Indiana Jones has just found somebody. You're the first person we've seen in years. And you know what? And you kind of say to yourself, I better be really kind and graceful and get the heck out of this store, because it's just, there's nothing happening. On the other hand, it's like you say, you walk into a store and it's got a vibe. I mean, why do you think the Best Buys of the world, when you walk into their store, it's just a boom, 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 because they want that energy happening. Even if you're going over to buy a stove, it's like, wow, what a stove, what a stove, what a stove. It's what they do, and it's smart. It's no different than walking into other types of venues, and they want to have you amped, because the more amped you are, the more contagious it becomes in the store. And it's not only for the salespeople, it can be even people that are stacking shelves or delivering stuff out to cars. It's that last touch point, where somebody says, now, how do you want this to go in your trunk? Not let me schlep it in your trunk.
Right.
It really is. It makes so much difference. I peeled off money. If the guy or the lady gets it right, I just reach in my pocket, I peel a couple off, and I say, thanks. Now I don't have to worry about that thing sliding all over the place. And it's really strange, but it matters. The last thing you want to do is be so happy about your purchase and then have somebody show less than total concentration when they put it in your car. I remember one time I was flying through Washington. I was heading to South Carolina, and I won't name the airlines, but I remember they had my golf clubs, and I remember looking out the window and watching my golf clubs being launched down the side of the airplane and landing and smashing. And I can't get out of the plane. I can't do anything about it. I get to my hotel room and I got pieces inside a bag.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah. And I had insurance. So I went down to the local place that would fix these bags. It was all ripped up, right? And tried to get my clubs fixed. And he says, tell you what, he says, we're a little busy. Come back in 2 weeks. I said, I'm here for 7 days.
Our friend Rick is here.
Yes, he is.
The most handsome man on LinkedIn.
007.
Says, absolutely. Happiness is the same. Be happy first, not when you've got the dream job dream partner, $1 million, start with happiness and
Yeah.
always bring the energy.
Yeah.
Amen,
Yeah.
Rick. Thank you.
Yeah. You know what? The only things we really control are the present and the future. Can't go back and change any of the stuff that's happened. So, it's when you get up in the morning, and especially in retail, and those that serve retail, because I served retail my whole life and I loved it. And I was in retail for periods of time. And it's like you walk in. Man, I remember I was a junior at a newspaper. We talked about this one time, Pete, but I was like the welcoming committee, and I'd have the coffee ready. I'd have everybody, so, you're just starting out like this. And, I'm the young guy in the room, and, you can see people walk in and they're all tired. It was the wrong time of the year. We were, working late into the night, building layouts so that we could take them to our furniture retailers and other retailers and get them amped because, it's like a horse race and you have to treat it that way. Because you can't give up the Kentucky Derby in the last stretch. You can't do it. That's not where the money is. The money is running right to the end. But the thing is to act like Secretariat. Secretariat was the most efficient thoroughbred horse in the world of all time.
Dude, we have ESP. I had Big Red in my mind when you said that.
Yeah.
I was seeing Big Red. I was seeing that horse accelerate to the line.
Yes.
Every race he ever ran, and let me tell you something, guys. Anybody out there, you're in sales, you own a business, I don't care. Rick, we love you too. Love you guys. Thanks for the value you bring. Loved retail. My favorite question when someone walked in the store wasn't, can I help you? Thank you for that, Rick, because that's not a good one.
Nope.
Because everyone just said no. What was it? He's going to tell me his favorite question. Rick, you're leaving us hanging.
No, do you know what it is? When somebody walks into your store, hand them a pad, even if it's a small one, and a pencil and say, what's on your list?
Who are you shopping for today?
I like that.
I like that. I like that too.
Yeah.
And then away we went with helping them out. Amen.
Amen.
Thank
brother.
you, Rick.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Okay. So I did what I'm best at. I interrupted you, my friend.
Yeah.
And so what were you saying?
No, I just, I just say, when somebody comes into your store, you don't ask them how they're doing, because right now, I mean, a lot of challenging times right now. The best thing to ask them is welcome to the store. We're really happy to see you. And what's on your list today? And if the person says, well, I don't have a list, you say, I have a list. Everybody has a list. Everybody has a list. You're shopping for your, you got a wedding coming up in about 3 months. You're shopping for that. You're thinking ahead right now. We're in the moment. What is it they need? And, I got to tell you, every time I walk into a retail operation and they say, how you doing today? I say, no, don't do that. What if I just go to a funeral?
You just approached me and I happen to be a professional sales trainer and you just said the worst thing you could.
Yeah.
And I'm giving you if you're receptive to it, I'm giving you a free coaching lesson.
I do it all the time. When I get calls, this is you read my mind, man. When I get calls, Pete, at home, people trying to sell me duck cleaning, and I don't own ducks. I have fireplaces, right? So I tell them I live in a tent, and then I talk to them about how they're approaching things. The ones that are really good, I always compliment, regardless of whether I'm going to buy the product or not. But what I say to them is, end this call now because you're hot. Get on the next call, stand up. Don't sit in your chair. Stand up so that your elocution, your voice, your timbre comes right from the base of your belly. That turns people on. Man, that's exciting.
Good for you. Jeff, love the what's on your list greeting.
Yeah.
Well, that's a compliment because let me tell you something. Jeff Janakovo is one of the most successful retailers I've ever known. I mean, it's amazing the numbers these guys are putting up. But what's more amazing, Pat, is the experience they give their customers in the store, and they've been doing it for years. And they give the customers an experience that is unlike anything else that they've ever experienced anywhere. So that compliment is huge. Thank you, Jeff. We appreciate that.
Thank you, Jeff. I hope to meet you someday. You take care, man. Keep doing the great stuff.
I want to go back to Secretariat because I think anyone who owns a store or as a salesperson or has anything that hasn't seen that movie, you need to watch Secretariat and you need to understand the lesson in that movie. And here's the lesson. Secretariat was a horse that was absolutely a warrior, absolutely a fearless competitor, loved to race. And we have to become that
Yeah.
sooner or later.
Yep.
We have to find joy in what we do. We have to learn to love it. And we have to get extraordinarily competent at it to the point when we see the finish line, we just go for it. We just instinctively just go for it.
It's the kick, man. It's the kick. So my race when I was in public school, it was the 220, and as I progressed a little bit more, it became the 4, and then finally I got to my real race, which was the 880. And the 880 is a tough one because you're having to run at about 3/4 speed, and then you have to have a kick at the end.
Yeah.
See, the 200 is a kick all the way through. Now, the 200 was just completed in under 20 seconds.
Ooh,
That's not real.
that's crazy.
It's crazy, but it's the kick near the end. And you're right about Secretariat. Actually, you know what? You can actually go back, and I've done it. You can go back and watch the videos of Secretariat being at the back of the pack, and the pack is just running all out, and Secretariat's just weaving its way through the pack. And it's like the horse does not slow down. It's just that, it's got this gear where you go, that's insane. My sister is a thoroughbred. She just loves it. I was born right across from a racetrack in Campbellford. We had sulkies there, and I actually ran into Sandy Hawley at a gathering here up in Canada and said, my sister is a thoroughbred racing nut. Would you sign something? Figuring nothing would happen, right? I give him my business card. About 8 weeks later, this beautiful photograph comes back from Sandy Hawley, who's one of the winningest jockeys of all time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so cool. And thank you, Chris Stone, for playing that.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, that's cool.
You reminded me of a scene in there where the owner believed in Secretariat before anyone else did. You, as a store owner, have that power. You have the power to believe in somebody and to raise somebody up and get them to believe in themselves. And that is an extraordinary responsibility. And it's an extraordinary responsibility as a human being. Forget about business and making money and all that stuff. All that follows just doing the right thing. And doing the right thing is lifting up all of our team members, whether they drive a truck, they answer the phone, or they sell on the floor.
I used to deliver pianos. I delivered pianos for like about 4 or 5 years. And what a responsibility that is. The guy sells at the front. All the paperwork goes through. People are sometimes taking out loans so they can get their, that instrument, that big instrument. Yeah. And then they hand it over to a bunch of teenage guys to deliver it in a truck. Honestly, that's a lot of responsibility, and it's a lot of belief from the management team saying, you know what, these guys are young, but they seem to really care about our brand. And in those days, I worked for Yamaha pianos, and Yamaha in those days, it was just kind of coming on. It's not the Yamaha that we know today. It was early Yamaha years, but we produced beautiful products, and I got to hang out with musicians all the time, and I was hauling stuff all over the place. I mean, there was weeks I was working 40 hours a week and going to high school at the same time delivering pianos. So, the guys that work on the trucks, man, I got a lot of respect. I have a ton of respect.
Yeah. Yep. They're our last touch point with our customers.
Sure.
So, Jeff Janakova from Gardner's Mattress in Lancaster, Pennsylvania was just on, and probably does the best job of anyone I've ever seen with that last touch point. And they spend an extraordinary amount of time coaching their people. They have a choreographed sequence of events that happen, including a mobile red carpet to deliver,
There you go.
removing the shoes, putting
Shoes, yeah.
booties on that are
Booties,
clean,
yeah.
And offering the opportunity for a review or a testimonial and allowing the customer time to fill it out while they're there. I mean, it's such a beautifully scripted process that they have. They understand that the last touch point. And let me tell you something. If you own a furniture or a mattress store and you have ever had second thoughts of letting your drivers out, listen to your gut, because if something's telling you there's something wrong, that this person isn't 100% presentable today, take heed of that situation and maybe make an adjustment. I know an owner recently who did just that and actually jumped on the truck and made the deliveries because the person that was responsible for making the deliveries was in no condition to make those deliveries. And that touch point wasn't going to be completed by somebody who wasn't up to it. We even offer a quick vacuum around the bed set too. I'm sorry, Jeff, you're 100% right. You do. A
Beautiful.
quick vacuum around the bed set too. That is
Beautiful.
so awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing. Way to go, Jeff. You're making it very difficult for everybody else in the country.
Yeah. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
I am going to take a commercial break and I am going to read chapter 69. It will take about 1 to 2 minutes. For those of you who have my book, Sell a Million, it's page 103.
Gotta own it.
And I don't know if you guys can see that. It says, wow, you're good. It's a little cartoon. Hire a mystery shopper. Inspect what you expect. Employees and team members are inherently critical for many businesses. If you have them, you know that health and profitability of your business is directly related to how employees and team members are interacting with each other, your customers and your vendors. Therefore, it's critical you have a system in place to inspect what is going on in your business when you're not explicitly watching. One way to accomplish this is to hire mystery shoppers. Hired as independent contractors, mystery shoppers are posers, operating in stealth-like fashion to assess your business operations. They are charged with specific tasks, such as taking photographs, purchasing a product or service, returning a product, registering complaints, asking questions of salespeople, and behaving in other ways similar to how a real customer would act. The whole point is to inspect how your employees and team members are interacting with your customers. Are they doing the right things? Are they saying the right things? The mystery shopper then reports back to the business owner with details about their experiences. Many times the results are scary. Be prepared to be shocked at what you discover, and not necessarily in a good way. That wasn't in the book. I just ad-libbed that. Do a web search on mystery shoppers to learn more about creating your own system or hiring a professional firm to do it. Read No BS, Ruthless Management of People and Profits, No Holds Barred, Kick Butt, Take No Prisoners Guide to Really Getting Rich by Dan Kennedy for more ideas on inspecting what you expect. And as an added bonus, I happen to have that book right here. And if you have not read this book,
Killer.
No BS, Ruthless Management of People and Profits by Dan Kennedy. As a matter of fact, read anything that Dan Kennedy writes. Hey, Steve. Good morning, gentlemen. Just want to say hello while I check out a customer.
Right on.
That's awesome, Steve.
Right on.
That's awesome. Congratulations. I'm glad you got a customer, and I'm glad you're taking care of that customer. That's what it's all about, whether it's the fourth quarter or the first quarter. So I'm going to ask you a very complex question. And I wouldn't normally ask this of any guest except
not the
you,
complex
Patrick,
one.
because anybody that could be the kind of career that you had in your advertising career, you dealt with a lot of complex situations.
Yeah.
So here's a situation that many of um, our our retailers are finding themselves in the furniture and the mattress industry. We continue to have supply chain problems. Many guys have
Yeah.
had, many of our guys and gals that own stores have had to either supplement their manufacturers' portfolios and add manufacturers that they didn't previously do
Yeah.
business with, and or replace current vendors because of a lack of performance. um, in general, they've had a good year, but the last few weeks have been slow. But overall, it's been a great year, um, for many of our store owners. But Pat, what's happening is they're working so hard. They're working overtime. They're doing the best they can to manage expectations at the
Yeah.
time of sale.
Yeah.
But, still, how customers hearing can be. They hear what they want to hear, and they're still calling the store every week. Hey, where's my mattress? Where's my sofa? And so what advice would you give? I mean, our store owners, they deal with a lot of they're caught in this squeeze play between the manufacturer not being able to get the goods as fast as they would like to get the goods to them, and then the customer, who sometimes is understanding but many times is not understanding at all. They just want what they want, and they want it now, and they're caught in the squeeze play of trying to make everybody happy. And then, to complicate matters further, Pat, they have employees that feel more empowered now than ever before in their lives, and are challenging, at times not showing up, uh, being very difficult to manage. And there are many people that just are absolutely refusing to work in any capacity. So that's what my guys are up against. And as we're encouraging them to have their best fourth quarter ever, and finish off this year strong. What words of wisdom do you have? Because you've seen it all in your career. I mean,
Well, I've never owned a furniture store, but if I did own a furniture store, I would be the first guy in and the last guy out. There's a tempo about a store. You didn't want to use the word earlier, but I'm going to use it. It's ambiance. And there's this vibe. You can walk in and you can feel it right away. You can feel it if the employees feel taken care of, if they know they're part of the team, if they know that they can make incremental decisions, not all decisions. When they understand risk. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that customer service isn't about customer service. It's about managing risk. And it's about knowing when you do things up to a certain point, which seem totally natural. And once they start to feel a little unnatural, or the customer starts to get edgy to the point that they're looking a little uncomfortable, or they're looking a little unreal, then that's the time to pull in an assistant manager, floor manager, or maybe even somebody else to kind of cool things down. The other thing is, if a situation gets a little frisky, pull it away into an office and just sit and listen to people, because customers are frustrated right now. There is huge supply chain problems across almost every retail outlet that you can think of. It's so bad right now. Costco is hiring its own ships. Sorry, Costco's a bad word in this environment, but they're hiring their own ships to go and get stuff. I'm hearing it from the food people. McDonald's is running out of things. I went to a Wendy's about 2 weeks ago. They told me they didn't have any chicken. I'm talking to my friends up here who run roadside stands, and they're saying, Pat, I can't even get containers to put my French fries in. So it's happening all over the place. And at the very beginning of the pandemic, I looked over to somebody who was close to me at the time, and I looked at her and I said, food security. I just didn't know when it was going to happen. So if it happens with food, it's going to happen in just about every other category. Is the implication and is the balance going to be equal across? No, it's impossible, because we've all got different supply chains that's coming from different countries with different points of entry. Some stuff gets flown in, some stuff gets shipped in, some stuff is bulk, some stuff isn't. Some stuff runs through Canada, believe it or not, and into the United States. It's not uncommon. Same with Mexico. So it just depends on how it gets to you. As far as how you have this conversation with your staff, it is to say, this is happening across our entire industry. So we got a decision to make here. We're either going to be best of breed, the secretariats of the world, or we're going to schlep it across the finish line, like dragging a dead body. I'm sorry, I'm not in that game. I'm not in that game. It's too hard. We've got a compressed period of time here. We have to be a little bit higher energy. Don't jack yourself up with coffee and colas and stuff like that. Eat well. As a matter of fact, if I'm the owner, you know what I might do is every Friday, maybe, just to make everybody feel a little bit better, bring in some nice sandwiches with, good cold cuts. Make sure your staff is taken care of. A sandwich, what does it cost you, as opposed to losing a customer because somebody hasn't eaten properly? It's just they don't add up. I mean, you put the two pieces together. It's really that simple. Now, if I was a customer and I was being impatient, I'd want somebody to sit me down and walk me through my options. And one of the things that you run into, so this is basically a really weird seller's market. It's weird because what's happening is it's being forced down the pipeline. In other words, the pipe is getting smaller, but the amount of need is larger at the bottom. So in other words, it's like we flattened the funnel. And so the conversations become harder with customers. And so what you have to do is you have to say, listen, I can't do anything more than put you on a right to first refusal list as things come in. I don't want to say to you that I'm treating you like everybody else. No, I'm not. I'm treating you like Pete Primeau. You deserve the best. Everybody that walks through this store gets my full attention. And by the way, this store isn't about one sale. It's about generational selling. So I'm just not selling to you. I'm selling to your nieces, your nephews, your grandchildren, because you're going to go back to them and you're going to tell them stories about how when things were really bad, and let's say that we couldn't get the whole furniture piece, or we couldn't get the mattress that we wanted. Around holiday time, when you have guests over, they're really not going to know if the springs match the mattress. So it could be that what we got to do is that we got to do a mismatch until the proper piece of furniture comes in, and then we have to go back out and make a second call. Is this expensive? Yes. But will people remember you by saying, I don't normally do this. This is at my cost. And I want you to use that term. I'm doing this at my cost. Never use the word free. I don't want to do it. If you say to somebody, I'm doing this for free, they'll say, well, it's not worth anything. But if you say to somebody, this is extraordinary and I'm doing it at my cost, they'll remember and they'll say, you know what? This guy didn't have product. He helped me. He even said, here's a couple of ways so your guests won't even know. And by the way, he said he's going to do it at his cost. Who does that? Nobody does that. So it's helping the customer discover elegant solutions when there are no solutions, and making them feel like you gave it everything you had in the tank. There was nothing left.
That's excellent. I'm constantly reminded of all the technology that we have, Patrick, and I'm very thankful for a lot of it. Sometimes I really worry that we don't communicate with people the way that we used to, and I can't change the world that we live in, but I can encourage everybody that deals with the public, and especially store owners that deal with consumers. Your customer wants to know that you care. above all else.
Yes.
Above all else.
Yes.
If you could be vulnerable and show them your heart
Yep.
and show them your pain, that this bothers you too,
Yep.
and it's real and it's authentic and it's palpable, there the situation that we find ourselves in is terrible on so many fronts. But you know what it's great for? It's great for building a relationship between you and your customers, and you should be taking advantage of it. And you should be, to Pat's suggestion, you know what? Your staff has to be, you cannot pretend like this isn't happening and hope that your staff goes off like sheep's to the slaughter. You have to coach your staff, and you have to be the leader of your staff, and you have to let your staff know that these are human beings. And even though it's a weird, you said it, it's a weird seller's market. I mean, it is.
It's artificial.
And it's lopsided, and it's not
Yeah.
the way that it's been.
No.
And I will guarantee you that there are more consumers out there that are feeling like they're just getting dictated to, like they're just basically getting run over.
Yeah.
And if you can take the time to explain to them what's happening,
Yes.
simply, not getting into all the bloody, gory details, but simply and letting them know that your hands are tied and it's frustrating to you too, and that you do feel their pain. And here's what I can do, and here's what I'm willing to do. And I love, I can do this at my cost for you. I love that. And Pat, I know that you happen to use that both in person and in emails.
And you know what? I do it in my personal life. Because you're either low self-interest or you're high self-interest, and customers are going to pick it off right away, right?
Yeah.
If you quote somebody something, I just finished a piece of work, so I've just discovered something that's really strange. This is off topic, but I've just discovered a skill that I had that I didn't know I had, and so I've been having a few people call me up and say, Pat, I'm really not happy with my LinkedIn biography. And I was contacted by somebody overseas, and they said, oh, it looks terrible and all the rest of it. And they want this amount of money. What do you think? And I said, oh, geez, I'll do it. Just like, I can probably knock it off in a couple of hours, and I'll do it at X rate. What I discovered that I didn't know was that I have the ability to write in somebody else's voice. And it's really weird because as a writer, I've turned my work over to editors, and in both cases, it was a disaster because they couldn't write in my voice.
Right.
I've discovered I can write in other people's voice, and even insert inflections that might say that, when they were kids, their first language might not have been English. It's also about syntax. It's about, and Pete, but it's your own book. It's sentences must have, they must have agreement. In other words, you can't have disagreement in the beginning and agreement at the end, and vice versa. And there are better ways to say things. Well, take this back to retail, and there are better ways to do retail. I remember when Morris Saffer, I don't know if that name is familiar to you or not, but back in the 80s, he turned a store which had a bunch of brands around, and he said, no, the store is now the brand. The store is the brand. Absolutely. The brands that reside within make up mini departments, mini vignettes. They may make up seasonal vignettes, but the store is the brand. And if the store is the brand, then all the employees are deliverers of promises. So what's your promise? And how good is your delivery? Back to your friend who brilliantly, comes in with a broom and does the final work around the mattress after it's delivered. I mean, what can you say about that other than, I wish I'd have thought about it first?
Yeah.
And that's why the guys from Walmart. That's the guys. That's why the guys from every single major retailer in the world spend their time going to other people's stores just to walk through and look at them and say, we're not doing this as well as the other guys. So we got to do some fixes. Now, the thing is, not all fixes are doable because some brands are so personalized that, you know, you can't take that personalization and transport it, but you can transport a feeling. And that's what we try and do. And I just think this is so critical in retail, especially now. Retail is under attack. Retail is being worked over by all this online, offline stuff, which, you know, I'm sorry, in the middle of the night when things go wrong, can I have a 1-800 customer please call me because my mattress just fell apart? No. But can I call through to Pete and say, Pete, I'm stuck. Who do you know that can help me? That's retail. The other stuff, I don't know what that is. But I tell you, it does not work in the furniture business as well. And you can say all you want about Wayfair, you can say all you want about all these other companies, but when I want to walk into a store, if I'm going to spend a lot of money on a dining room suite, I want to make sure that those chairs have got just enough cushion in them so that when I sit down and that back forms against my back, and it's the feel of that really great quality wood. And as I pull myself up that table, that's when that meal gets special.
Yep. Okay, let's talk about something that if we didn't talk about it, we would be cheating our audience, and that is within the fourth quarter of all this stuff that you have to do. You have October, you have November, you have December, you have Black Friday, and then you have the month that is really a week between Christmas and New Year's, which can be huge, right?
Sure.
Right, Patrick? I mean, how many ads did your retailers over the years
run my God,
blow that out of the water?
And the last minute changes because people would run out of things, special buys that they said, well, we'll be lucky if we get it in January. And all of a sudden it shows up like, you know, first week of December, and everybody's running around with their hair on fire in the warehouse saying, A, we got to move it out on the floor because we got no room back here. And B, how the heck do we get people in the store really fast? And, you know, so there's, you know, these are all really important things. And the thing is, do you have the hands? Do you have the bodies to move things around really fast? And, you know, that's when big money gets made. You know, we're into time compression right now. Time compression is awful because it makes everybody feel uncomfortable. Everybody works long hours. Everybody gets frustrated. People go home and, you know, the first thing they do is they either take it out on their poor dog or the first person that opens the door gets the blow through. Hopefully, we're not all like that. But, you know, I think, you know, we have to, when we're in front of the public, you know, you can do 1,000 things correctly. People won't say anything. Yeah. You do one thing wrong, you're going to spend the rest of your life with them listening to, do you remember when Pete? You know, honestly, I keep saying to people over and over and over again, it's almost impossible to create. When you walk into a store, you're not walking into a store, you're walking into an ecosystem. The thing eats, sleeps, and breathes. If it doesn't feel that way, then it's not really a store. It's something else. I don't know what it is, but it should have a really, really cool sense of who that owner is and what their family's story is. Yeah. It's the family story. We all stand on somebody else's shoulders.
Absolutely.
How would your grandfather have handled that problem?
So let's talk about first quarter planning. That has to happen now. Probably should have already started to happen.
Sure.
Where would you put the deadline for that within the fourth quarter to have your first quarter planning done?
Second week of December. Finished.
No later.
No later. Because I tell you why, if it was me, I'd already be working on the plan. All I'd be doing is getting somebody to sign off on it by that deadline. So in other words, in November, I'm already starting to work into the following year. It might even be earlier. It depends on the size of the client. The bigger the client is, the farther back you have to push it. And you say, why? Well, the why is because planning with very large retail outlets takes more time to execute because the departments are more detailed. There is more brand. There is more breadth and depth of merchandise. You're dealing with regions that are larger, and sometimes you have off sale stores. You have stores that do nothing but discount, and so there's a lot of things to bring into play. And so it really is a piece of canvas, and you have to be able to draw that picture out for your team. You have to get to your client. They have to be able to feel comfortable about sharing their vision for the coming quarter and year. And then you have to build your incentive plans around it to match their vision. Because if your incentive plan doesn't match their vision, it's like taking a block of ice to somebody in Minnesota in the middle of January and saying, here, I got a gift for you.
Pat, I'm going to tell you a quick little story. I worked for a furniture company. I was one of 3 store managers. And at the company Christmas party, us 3 store managers got pulled into another room with the owner and said, hey, are you guys having fun? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we're having fun. And he gave us a Christmas present. And it was all wrapped up, and it was the same size. And it was kind of a small box. And he goes, I gave you guys all the same present. So, right. Pretty anticlimactic. It's like he's managing our expectations. So, like, did we all screw up and we got a lump of coal? I mean, I grew up Catholic, right? So I've got this going through my head. So at any rate, and then he keeps talking and he says, it's not significant in and of itself, but it's insignificant with what we're going to fill it with. And just about then, a couple seconds later, we're unwrapping the whole time he's talking, and it's a money clip.
Mm.
And he said, I'm going to fill your pockets with money this year.
I love that. Wow. That is, see,
I got goosebumps. I'm a poor kid from Schenectady, New York.
I can feel the hair standing up on the back of my neck there. That was good. Yeah. Do you want to know? Can I share one? And this is for your store managers. Okay. So when you get into the Black Friday crazy, when you get into those special buy crazy days, call your staff in. All right. Sit them down in chairs. There might only be 10 of them, right? But one person knows what they're supposed to do. And what I want you to do is I want you to take some money and tape it under the chairs. And you're standing at the front of the room. You say, you know what, guys, today's an opportunity day. Today's an opportunity day. If we can just get up, if we can just get out of our chairs, if we can just get off our asses, we're going to make money. And with that, somebody jumps up in the air and reaches under the chair and rips off a $10 bill and goes, look at me, I got 10 bones. And everybody else screams and they jump up and they're pulling up their chairs. And then the store manager stands there quietly and said, you're ready. You got off your ass. It's ready. It's time to make money.
I love that. I love that. Pat, I can't believe it's a time to almost say goodbye, but I don't want to say goodbye yet. Oh, by the way, any of you store owners that write lots, any of you business owners that write lots, this is a must-have book. It's The Elements of Style by William Strunk. It is the shortest little book you'll ever read in your life about how to write effectively, but it's a must have. But that's not what I wanted to talk about. I want to talk about our guest, Patrick, one more time. If you own a store or you're a sales rep and you don't get this book, you're out of your ever-loving mind. The bonus round. It is the bonus round. It is a great book. You have to get this. Unlock and Yes, probably one of the most comprehensive books ever written on negotiations from somebody that was in the trenches for many, many years. As a matter of fact, one of the biggest training companies in the world actually contracted Pat for this material. Is that a fair statement?
Fair statement.
And Perpetual Hunger prospecting for business owners, store owners, and also for you sales reps and sales professionals out there. Get Patrick's books. Pat, before we say goodbye, I want to know what you're up to really quickly. What are you up to? How do people get a hold of you? You have given us so much. I mean, I started off with a blank piece of paper, and I have so much stuff written down here. It's not even funny. And I can't summarize it all because there's too much. There's 5 horse races in one. Conserve your energy, eat well, not too much caffeine, close out strong. What's your flight plan? Lunch with a mentor. Guys, everyone needs a mentor, whether you own a store or you're a sales pro on the floor or you're a sales rep. You need mentors, and they can come in lots of shapes and sizes, but you need mentors. And Pat had one that he actually made a habit out of having lunch with, which is brilliant on so many fronts.
I stole them every time I could.
Yeah.
How many times you get to hang out with a president for 3/4 of an hour with his undivided attention?
You don't.
You don't. Yeah. It's whether you realize that you have the opportunity. I just think that's,
I think that is your whole career right there. I'm going to read something to you guys. Just because I happen to, this is in Pat's book, Perpetual Hunger. As a sales prospector with a long career in sales, I am always in a state of perpetual sales hunger. My hunger for bigger and better customer opportunities will never diminish. I seek out great customers and match them up with unique solutions to help make their businesses grow. It's about selling long-term value to new customers.
That's right.
My focus is that unique business solutions must provide a gateway to profitability in a measurable period of time for both our prospective customers and our enterprise alike. Guys, think about that. Apply that to your business. How do people get a hold of you?
Pretty easy. Google Patrick Tinney, and I'm there. Sales author. LinkedIn I like. I'm up a little bit on Facebook, and my company is called Centroid Training. I tell you the things that I'm working on right now.
Sure.
I've got a master class that I built at the beginning of the pandemic, and it's equally split between sales prospecting, consultative selling, and sales negotiation. It is the panoramic view that we call selling. And the thing is, I'm running a couple, and I'm just bringing another one on, and I'm doing them virtually. And I got to tell you, I'll just give you one example. I have a gentleman that I'm working with who runs a safety company for the mining industry, and he has not adopted. He's inhaling what I'm teaching him, and he's going back to his suppliers and saying, "I understand the Centroid way. Pat's teaching us how to sell to CFOs and CEOs, not to buyers. Okay, so we all got to change and catch up." He's selling them on what I'm teaching him. That's speed. That's velocity.
Yeah. Well, Dan Kennedy loves saying that money loves speed, and somebody before him said it, but I don't know who it was, so I'm just giving credit. How do we get a signed copy? Steve, ask and you shall receive. Patrick, what is that? Your music that you walk out to?
That's Queen Elizabeth calling from the United Kingdom.
I will buy for Steve one of each of these books. What I would like you to do is sign them personally to Steve and send me the bill, and I will give you the information to do that. How's that? How's that, Steve? Please keep buying my show.
Do you know what? To all of you who serve in retail, we couldn't do it without you. We couldn't.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And thank you. Thank you, everybody that was here. And I hope those that see this on the replay, that you get a lot out of it, and reach out to me or Patrick. We both have servant hearts. We want to help you no matter where you are, no matter how big your business is or how small your business is. We all succeed together, and we all do the other thing together too. And so let's concentrate on finishing this year strong. And with that, I'm signing off. Thank you, Patrick Tinney. You are an amazing human being and an amazing sales and business expert. And it's my privilege to have you on our show. Thank you.
Thanks, Pete. And you know what? You either bring out the best in me or the worst in me. And I think you're digging hard, man, because you're getting stuff out of me that nobody else gets. I just want you to know it.
Thank you very much. And
Take
that's
care,
a wrap.
Peace.
Take care.